It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Learn how to be content.
This is one I think you're going to have to do a little practice on this. This is a skill set that takes time to develop. And I want you to really become deliberate and purposeful in determining what makes you happy.
Yep.
If it's the cup of coffee, enjoy it. Really think about what makes you happy. What do you appreciate in life? If you can start developing that muscle, that skill set, life is going to be so much better. I was just driving into work this morning. I think the reason I've been in such a good mood.
You have been in
I've been in a great mood this morning, and it's probably I'm in my third cup of coffee. That helps. But it is also I'm listening to a great audiobook. I told you guys I'm listening to Dave Grohl's Storyteller's book.
Yep.
But the part of that I love when you're listening to a musician's autobiographies, they tell you songs that had huge impacts on their life. So I'm pausing the book, listening to music that then makes me think of historic things that were going on in my life. All of that stuff I've realized brings me happiness, brings me fulfillment. I spend time trying to make sure I put enough of that in my life, like riding my bike to work. On the summer months, that puts a smile. Even thinking about it puts a smile. Find out what makes you happy. All those things I said are very inexpensive, but they bring happiness. You need to find the things that bring you happiness and content, because I will tell you, there are forces out there. We live in a very consumer society. The American economy is driven by an entire industry that tells you spend.
Right.
You want more, you want more, you want more. And I'll tell you, human nature is working against us as well, is because we talk about this term, and a lot of you have probably never heard this, so we're going to explain what it is. The hedonic treadmill.
That's right. The hedonic treadmill, according to Investopedia, describes the tendency of humans to quickly return to a stable level of happiness after major life changes. And you may say, oh, well, that seems like a good thing, right? Like something happens and then I return back to a stable level. Well, the problem is our human nature, we always want more and better and more and better and more and better.
We live in Franklin, Tennessee, is one of the wealthiest communities in the country. And one of the things that I see, and I'm like, oh man, where do they go from here? Is that you see so many people, and I had this decision as well with my daughter turned 16, 17. That first new car, it's not uncommon in such an affluent area that you see parents buy their kids brand new, like
luxury
I'm talking
cars.
about BMWs, Mercedes. I think it's the craziest thing in the world. I'm not thinking of anybody in particular, so if you're a neighbor of mine, I'm not judging you. But it is one of the, I am kind of judging you, but it is one of those things that's sitting in the background where I know that child who receives that super nice car, they're going to absorb it. They will appreciate it. They'll get the endorphins and dopamine hit and all the other things that come with it for probably about 6 months. Or maybe that's not going to be long.
And then it's just a car.
And then they're going to want more. And where do you go when you're already at the tippity top of the mountain? And that's something that bothers me. That's why if you're curious, my daughter paid for half of her car. And she drives what is that car now? It's 15 years old. It's 2006
that's
to
right. Yep.
20. It's 15 years old at this point, and she's half of the ownership. She's got skin in the process. This is the stuff she's going to have lots of upside and character building as she gets to build more in the future.
What I think is so interesting is in that I say we, this is not a you guys thing. This is a us. This is all of us do this. We try to convince ourselves. We have these conversations with ourselves saying, oh man, if I could just have this house, I'd finally be happy. Or if I could just afford that car, I'd finally be happy. Or who has said this, and I know this one is going to hit close home. If I could just get to a point to where I had made this level of income, then I would be set. Then I would be happy. Then I'd be okay. Well, the truth of the matter is, unless you can figure out that contentment piece, that goalpost is always going to move and always going to move and always going to move.
And we've done shows on funny little words that impact how you make financial decisions, and one of them is the Diderot effect.
That's right.
And I thought this was great. So we have the definition of what the Diderot effect is, and this is actually named after a monk that was given, he did some work and was given this beautiful robe. And now, because he was given this beautiful robe, he just hated everything else in his house, where he lived.
Yep.
He had to replace everything so it would match his beautiful robe. And that's why the Diderot effect states that obtaining a new possession often creates a spiral of consumption, which leads you to acquire more things. Now, here's what I think is great. We never know. When we have our show content meetings, we put together the outlines, and then we tell FTE Daniel, go let loose. And Daniel wrote his own Diderot effect example of his personal life. This is pretty self-confessional, but I'm just going. I don't want to mess it up, so I'm just going to let you read this to our audience.
This is from FT said, in my freshman year of college, I thought I wanted nothing more than to get out of student housing and have my own room. My sophomore year in college, I lived off campus and had my own room, but I shared a bathroom with 2 other guys. All I wanted was my own bathroom. Well, the next year, we moved into an apartment that had 3 bedrooms, and each bedroom had their own bathroom. I was happy in the new place for a while, but then I began to want my own apartment as my other roommates were a little noisy, left dirty dishes out, etc. When I moved to Franklin, I got my own apartment, but I still wasn't happy. There were spiders, and the washer wasn't that great, and it was small. I wanted a bigger and nicer apartment. Now, for those of you who just heard that spider comment, there is a very unique story where our FTE Daniel had his 15 minutes of fame on the local news. If you want to see Daniel on a news story talking about the spiders in his apartment complex, we will put that in the show notes for you when this show goes live. Just kind of archive that away.
Brown recluse
That's right.
spiders, too.
You're going to want to see that. So then he said, last year we moved into a very nice apartment with great management, no spiders, and a nice washing machine. But now I'm looking forward to purchasing a house. There's nothing wrong with looking forward to the next big thing in life. I don't regret finding those nicer apartments or wanting to buy a new house, but I did realize that I was looking forward to the next big thing so much that I did not appreciate what I had or where I was. Now I intentionally take time to reflect on how far I've come and how fortunate I am to have such a nice apartment. It really helps me feel fulfilled and that what I have presently is already more than enough.
I think this is key information that I want all my financial mutants to hear, because this is something I've had to mentor Coach Bo on, because all of us financial mutants, we're calibrated to be achievers. You're trying, you have your own mental checklist of all the things you need to accomplish in each stage of your life. And I think sometimes we do get so excited for what's coming that we don't enjoy where we are right now. So once again, I'm going to kind of Seinfeld this and bring the beginning to the end and tell you, here's the teachable thing you need to understand. Be purposeful in determining what makes you happy, what brings you contentment, what brings you fulfillment, and enjoy each stage of your life. Don't let time slip by that you wake up and you're 50 years old and you were living this miserly lifestyle and never actually got to enjoy all those stages of life that really will bring you that life of fulfillment.